I am delighted to be here today for this landmark groundbreaking ceremony for the development of the special agro-industrial processing zones in Kaduna State. I wish to congratulate you, Your Excellency, Governor Uba Sani, from your incredible leadership, vision, dedication, and tenacity that have led to this historic groundbreaking for the development of the special agro-industrial processing zone in Kaduna. Please put your hand together for his governor. Your Excellency, Governor Uba Sani, I must tell you straight up, you are a great governor for Kaduna State. Your passion for agriculture is impressive. I learned that when you became governor, you increased the share of the state budget allocated to agriculture to 10%, and that it has risen from 1.4 billion naira to 74 billion naira. Well done. The fastest way to develop your vast state so rich in agricultural potential is via agricultural transformation. It will transform your rural economies, create jobs, expand your fiscal space, and make Kaduna State critical for feeding Nigeria. You get it, Governor Uba Sani. Congratulations. I wish to commend the federal government of Nigeria under His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for the strategic partnership with the African Development Bank, but of course other partners, the International Fund for Agricultural Development and Islamic Development Bank and other partners on this work. I commend His Excellency Vice President Kashim Shettima for representing the President here today. As an agricultural economist yourself, Your Excellency, I know that this occasion is special for you. Thank you, Your Excellency, Vice President, for your personal commitment, drive for these special agro-industrial processing zones. You had and chaired many meetings. You coordinate so many organizations together. You showed incredible leadership on the global stage because you were even with me at the World Food Prize in Des Moines, Iowa in the United States, where you continue to champion this initiative globally. Today, I must salute you, Mr. Vice President. Thank you. Without your leadership and tenacity, we wouldn't be here. I wish to thank His Honorable Minister for Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy and the Governor of the African Development Bank, Mr. Wale Edu, for his huge support that made possible the signing of the subsidiary loan agreements with the state governments. I would like to thank the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Minister of Livestock, the Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, and the Honorable Minister of Environment for their collective collaboration and support. I am delighted that the development of the special agro-industrial processing zones in Nigeria is now a reality. Finally, I said finally, under the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I said finally because this was an idea that we had, that I championed, and my boss is here, and we worked so hard, Vice President Namadi Sambo, when I was Minister of Agriculture in Nigeria. And he helped me a lot, Vice President Namadi Sambo, to push this. At that time, it was called Staple Crops Processing Zones. I remember meeting with him and the rice revolution at the time across northern Nigeria, and the dramatic improvement in the production of food, generally across the entire nation. The challenge, however, was we were producing more than we could process. Food losses were high to the lack of appropriate storage and logistic infrastructure. And several agribusinesses were focused more on food imports based on processed foods, when in fact, they should be processing the food and agricultural commodities produced right here in Nigeria. Changing that trend required understanding the challenges across the agricultural value chains, from the farm to the table. At the heart of this is the lack of appropriate infrastructure to support food and agribusinesses to take advantage of the rapidly rising staple food crop production and to process and add value and deliver cheaper, processed, well-packaged food for consumers within Nigeria and across export markets. Many of the food and agribusinesses were located in the urban areas far from zones of production. simply importing raw materials, processing and sending processed imported commodities within the country. The result was the displacement of the emergence of dynamic food and agribusiness food processing and manufacturing industry in Nigeria that relies on agricultural commodities produced at home right here in Nigeria. This lack of stable industry-driven market offtake for farmers depresses farm prices and negatively affects incentives for farmers to use new technologies, including improved seeds, fertilizers, irrigation, and mechanization. When I work with my team so hard to develop the staple crop processing zones with the idea of having them across the country, His Excellency Vice President Namadi Sambo, my boss, was here, and he understands the institutional inertia we had at the time from various places. And one of the things that we had at the time was that agriculture should just focus on agriculture, produce raw materials, and let the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment focus on industry. But agriculture is an industry, from the farm to the table. So that was an old approach. Agriculture spans the farm to the table, value chains and agro-industry that transforms and adds values to commodities. While we succeeded with the establishment of several large-scale rice mills across the country to take advantage of rice revolution at the time, the absence of these special economic zones fully dedicated to agro-industries limited the capacity and the ability to have platforms for scale and competitiveness. I was, of course, very disappointed that we were unable to get the staple crop processing zones implemented. Yet I knew that without these zones, Nigeria will not be able to have a competitive agricultural sector that will support the development of value chains to deliver cheap processed foods and commodities that can compete with imports. However, I never stopped dreaming that the day will come when Nigeria will have the staple crop processing zones to change the fortunes of farmers in this country, revive the rural areas, and turn Nigeria into an agricultural processing powerhouse. Well, thank God that day came. I was elected president of the African Development Bank in 2015. I immediately launched the Feed Africa strategy to expand Africa's capacity in food production and development of strong and competitive agricultural value chains. I immediately put at the core of this for the development of what's called the special agro-industrial processing zones, going beyond staple crops to include all agricultural commodities, from grains to root crops to tree crops, horticulture, fisheries, dairy, livestock, leather, and among others. That is why today, Your Excellencies, the African Development Bank has committed over $934 million for the development of special agro-industrial processing zones in Africa. And we have mobilized an additional $938 million from partners, including the Islamic Development Bank and the International Fund for Agricultural Development. Currently, the special agro-industrial processing zones are under implementation in 27 sites in 11 countries: Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, Guinea, Liberia, Madagascar, Togo, Ethiopia, Democratic Republic of Congo, Mozambique, and Mali. Now, 10 years later, the dream of the staple crop processing zone is alive back home right here in Nigeria, finally, as special agro-industrial processing zone. What a great day for Nigeria. What a great day for the federal government of Nigeria. What a great day for the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. What a great day for the Minister of Agriculture of Nigeria, my brother Minister. Honestly, it has taken 11 years to get here, but we are here. And I'm very proud of you that this is happening under your time as Honorable Minister. Thank you very much and well done. And I'm also delighted that the Minister of Industry is here. That shows the kind of collaboration that we should be having to move this forward. Your Excellencies, the first phase of this program is in 8 states: Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Ogun, Oyo, Kwara, Cross River, and Imo states, and the Federal Capital Territory. The total financing for this phase is $510 million. For this first phase, the African Development Bank is providing $200 million, with $50 million from the Africa Growing Together Fund from China, with co-financing of $100 million from the International Fund for Agricultural Development, $150 million from the Islamic Development Bank, and $60 million from the Green Climate Funds. It's expected that $1 billion of investment will be mobilized in these zones and create thousands of jobs. I'm delighted that all 5 states that have been funded by the African Development Bank have all signed, thanks to the support of the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, their subsidiary loans agreement. But today, we are witnessing the groundbreaking of the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone from Kaduna State. From here, I will be going to launch the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones in Cross River State. I'm delighted to inform you, Mr. Vice President, that we will soon be launching, thanks for your support, the zones in Ogun, Oyo, and Imo states. The second phase of this program will be in 28 states. It is scheduled for presentation to the board of the African Development Bank very shortly. We have been able, I would like to say, Mr. Vice President, to mobilize $2.2 billion of investment interest to support the second phase across Nigeria. And that support is coming from the African Development Bank, Arise IIP, the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, Africa Import-Export Bank, Sahara Farms, BPI France, Africa 50, and United States Development Finance Organization. Mr. Vice President, let me close my remarks today with joy in my heart, but also my eye on success. The success of the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones across Nigeria will require 5 critical enablers. First, there is need for continued strong political will and commitment at the highest levels. I have no doubt that that is the case because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has designated this as a presidential initiative. And of course, I know that we have a Vice President Shetima, who is very passionate about agriculture, so I know this is in safe hands. Secondly, there must be continuity of government policies. Policy reversals with each administration presents uncertainty to investors. I'm happy today that we are doing the groundbreaking ceremony in Kaduna State, but that is because there was continuity. The engagements and commitments made by the former governor of the state, Governor El-Rufai, and when the new governor came in, my dear brother, Governor Uba Sani, he came with a passion, with a drive, with a commitment. He embraced it, he pushed it, and here we are today. Thank you to this dynamic governor that we are able to launch this effort today. All I want to say is a very simple fact. Kaduna's governor, I like how he's governing the state. No politics, no religion, just professionalism, focus on what needs to be done and get it done. I'm very proud of this governor. And that continuity should be an example for all other states. Third, there is need for cross-ministerial cooperation and collaboration for effective delivery and success of these zones. And that's why I'm delighted that today we have the Ministries of Finance, Minister of Agriculture, Livestock, Trade, Industry and Investment, and the Ministry of Environment, of course, Water Resources. Other agencies of government, such as the Nigerian Export Processing Zone Agency, the Nigerian Customs, Nigerian Revenue Service, should all support this to make it easier to have a one-stop shop for incentives, customs clearance, and tax incentives for tenant investors in the zones. Fourth, to ensure continuity for all eventual 36 special agro-industrial processing zones in Nigeria, it is necessary, Mr. Vice President, to codify them in legislation by an act of the National Assembly. And finally, to ensure effective coordination and delivery of these zones across Nigeria, it is critical to establish and back this by the act of the National Assembly with the establishment of special agro-industrial processing zones. And Dr. Kabir has been working really hard, Professor Oyeyinka, and my team have been working very hard on this. So as I close, I just want to say, Mr. Vice President, we must ensure that farmers are provided necessary support to access high-performing agricultural technologies, including seeds, fertilizers, irrigation, and mechanization services. The Bank of Industry and the recently recapitalized Bank of Agriculture, as well as commercial banks, must play critical roles to ensure that affordable financing is provided for agricultural value chains. Here, I would like to urge very strongly that the de-risking facility of the original NISAL, I'm proud to have developed with Sanusi Lamido, that original NISAL be reactivated to ensure that commercial banks can lend end-to-end to agricultural value chains. Today is indeed a great day for Kaduna State. It's a great day indeed for Nigeria. And as a Nigerian, I'm extremely proud. With the special agro-industrial processing zones, farms will thrive across Kaduna State in every local government. Food and agricultural processing companies will move to Kaduna State. The rural areas of Kaduna State will boom with economic activities, and Kaduna State will mark itself out, as always, as the leading center for agro-industrialization in Nigeria. Congratulations, Your Excellency, Mr. Vice President. Congratulations to you, Your Excellency, Governor Uba Sani. Congratulations to the government of Kaduna State. Congratulations to the good people of Kaduna State. Congratulations to the federal government of Nigeria and the people of Nigeria. Now, let's roll up our sleeves and build the special agro-industrial zones, and do so fast. The African Development Bank and all the partners will strongly support you. Together, let us use the special agro-industrial processing zones to unlock the full agricultural and food processing and manufacturing capacity of Nigeria. May God bless this work. May God make Nigeria and Kaduna State to prosper. Thank you very much. I'm grateful.